Hey, I'm Jennifer Merritt, and welcome to Breathing with an Energized Life. And I'm here with Lena and Michelle. So, we're going to introduce to you the Breathing for an Energized Life online class. And first, start out with the topic of self love. I know we all have some different ideas of what this means. It's such an individual thing. And so, I'm so curious, Lena, if you'd like to start us off with what it means to you when you're helping people understand self-love?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most fascinating subjects that I've came across in my life. It's something that I think we all heard a lot about, but don't really know much, and a lot of us don't practice it as much. And I know I wasn't very good at self-love growing up. I was always extremely negative and critical and hard on myself. Heard a lot of critical voices that started way, they sounded a lot of times like the voices I would hear from my parents. You didn't clean up your room, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And through years, that's just accommodated where you just kind of become the kind of person who is not really loving to yourself. But when I teach people and I ask them, what does it look like when you love yourself? A lot of times people say, "Oh, I love myself. I love myself so much. I do manicures. I buy myself nice dresses. I take care of my needs." And I said, it's lovely, but how are you when something you do you don't like what you do? How are you reacting to that? And that's where people's like, well, I'm an idiot. Yeah, I make mistakes, blah blah blah. And but that's exactly when the self-love starts. And like you and I were talking about looking in the mirror sometimes, and looking in the mirror and seeing, if you don't want to see yourself, how do you feel? Like, what's something that's showing up that you're not happy with? And that's where my work starts. It's like, let's see, what is it that you are not comfortable with? What is it that you would love to be more accepting and loving of yourself? That's the hard part for most people. I mean, we can all do manicures, right? But seeing what you're seeing in yourself, seeing the shadow, facing it, and being totally okay with it, and still give yourself the love and support and acceptance, that's I think profound that we don't do. A lot of times we say, I'm gonna love myself when when I'm gonna get a promotion. I would love myself if I was a little thinner, 5 more pounds if I shed them, right? I would really love myself if I had, this car, whatever. But how do you love yourself with everything that you already have? That's huge for me. So we all want to be loved by others. And I sound like a lecture, but I think the most important person you truly should get love from is yourself. And that's hard. What do you guys think?
I think that's so true. I think of it like when I start looking for approval from other people, if if I'm looking at, if you're approving of me, that's great. And that's something that I've found that I do a lot of is seek approval from other people. But it's just really basically me doing the inside approval, that I need to just approve of myself, that because I can get approval from all kinds of people, but if I'm not approving of myself or giving myself the love, or one of the things that Jen always tells me when we do EFT is, even though I blah, 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 I still love and accept myself. And that's really helped me find self-acceptance, self-approval, even though I have these things that I want to change. I still love and accept myself, and that's why I seek to change.
Absolutely. Because it's not by Jen, right?
Yeah.
And you're creating a dependency.
Yeah.
right? What if Jen didn't have a good day and she forgot to mention how fabulous you are, Michelle? And then what? You're not fabulous?
Yeah, exactly. It's like Jen's approval doesn't matter. It's my approval.
Is that better?
But what she taught me is that even though I'm thinking I need everybody's approval,
Yeah.
I still love and accept myself. I'm adding the tapping.
Yeah.
If you haven't done tapping, it's a good thing to do.
Are we gonna do tapping?
We can.
I love
Nini.
tapping.
One of my questions for you around self-love was, one, are we born, do you think we're born like having a sense of self even? Because I feel like we're born with a strong knowing of connection. We're born knowing the connection to our mother first. And then we learn, you know, this is what I was taught, we learn our connection to our father through our mother.
Mhm.
And then, and that's just one philosophy. I'm sure there's many philosophies, but there's like being born into the world feeling connected, and then when you're around 2, 3 years old, you start to more and more learn sense of separateness, more and learn sense of self. So when kids start saying no, and we have different layers in life where we're learning these boundaries. And so, you know, for someone who, like, I kind of wonder, and there is some philosophical beliefs where self-love is something that is truly developed throughout externally through others. And you know, so if you never really experienced it, you might not know what it feels like in your body, or you might need the assurance from the other person to say, now I know what this feels like in my body, and now I can start to give it to myself. So as adults, of course, we're capable of learning self-love and applying it to things like when we see ourselves, or applying it to things we wish we were better at, or things that we wish we did different, or applying it to things that we just love about ourselves. You know, like I just like this part of myself, and the good and the bad, you know. But is it, like, I guess my thought is that something that we have to get from someone else at some point in order to know how to give it to ourselves? What are your thoughts on that?
It's such an interesting question. I actually haven't thought about that. Rose is good.
Okay.
But you know what just popped into my head was that I think we were born with it.
Okay.
And it's just my philosophy right now. I think that what happened is it was taken away from us by all of the learned behavior that we, you know, all the things that happens to us by teachers, by our caretakers, by any no's, by any criticizing, by any of the ways that our parents and just say that we are not good enough. And then we start to believe, because, you know, they're bigger, better, they're much taller, they have more experience, they must know what they're talking about, and we take their view of us over what we really have, because we are born pure. We are born completely pure and loving, and it's nothing but love. And it's interesting you asked, because I have a teenage daughter, and I had a conversation with her today about, she messed up majorly, which messed up the whole family, and she was very sad about it. And we started talking, and in the conversation I said, listen, it's okay, it's just a learning thing, it's fine, you know, it happens. And she said, yeah, you're absolutely right, it happens, I still love myself. Because you know, as a parent, if you continue saying it, you know, it just happens, you're still perfectly imperfect just the way you are. It's just reminding them that's still love yourself no matter what. You know, this happened, it messed up, but you're worthy of love. And then she's receiving it, and then she's able to give it back, which is incredible. Because that's another part of the self-love, which is the amount of self-love you give yourself is equal to the amount of love that we can give to others or receive. Right?
Yeah. What I think about self-love in that way, and with breathing, what we do when we study breath work is we talk about how we took our first breath, you know. And so when you're born, you take your first breath, and little babies come into the world, and they're just so impressionable. So in the delivery room, The doctor could think something like, ooh, that's an ugly baby. Or the mother can say, oh, I really wanted a boy. And, or, you know, so all these first thought forms land on the baby. And then they feel like they're not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so we spend the rest of our life starting anything the way we were born.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, if we start a new job, we're thinking, oh, the boss really wanted somebody else, not me. Or the boss really wanted a boy, not me. You know, so it's a pattern. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
And in breathing, what you do is you change those patterns through the breath process by breathing into those thoughts and transforming those thoughts. But also, my father was an orphan when he was born. So he, you know, when his mother gave him away, he had to have low self-esteem, you know, which translates to no self-love. So, you know, here he's having babies and he doesn't love himself. So how can he teach children to love themselves? So I think self-love is complicated. And also you said your father, what you were talking about, like, I think even when mom is pregnant, you know, all the cortisol and all the things that are pumping through her system and all her thoughts are being transmitted to the baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we do have a lot to overcome.
Absolutely, yeah. And even more, it goes even further with our DNA if we study epigenetics. You know, it comes from our ancestors.
We're feeling what
we're feeling, and what babies feel before we have words, before we have the knowledge.
It's
of the
resonating
language.
in their DNA.
Right, and it's an energy. You know, the mother's feeling, I'm gonna give this baby away, and she's nervous, and her energy transfers to the baby. And that's how they feel, absolutely.
And then he never has self-love.
Yeah, so
You
we
know?
can tap,
But
we can breathe,
right.
we can talk, we can bring it awareness to it, that this is an extremely important
topic
and a part of being human, so our human experience.
Yeah, this is super
I love
important.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel just hearing someone say, I love myself, or hearing someone say, I love life. Life is great. Like I've been having that intention. Like in the morning, I'll wake up and I'll be like, you know, if I'm creating intentions for the day, I'll create an intention that I hear it from other people, that I'm getting feedback from people to say things like, I love life. And it's kind of amazing, like when you get into more creating intentions, like an hour after I had made this intention, I was like, well, if we're manifesting, I want to manifest people loving life. And an hour later, I did a massage on someone and she's like, Jen, I love life. She takes my yoga class here.
Wow.
And I was like, she's like, a year and a half ago, anyways, I don't want to start her story. But anyway, it was so nice to just hear her say, I love life. Like I feel more love in my heart when I hear it. I like just hearing you say, I love myself.
Yeah.
And my heart kind of like lights up, you know? So when people are afraid to say and share joy and share the beautiful things in their life, you know, I don't know why, because like my actual experience is that I feel my heart when I hear other people say they love themselves. I feel my heart when I hear people say the joy that they have. And so I don't know if we need to necessarily be afraid to share these things. I think it's okay to share when we are, whatever we're feeling, you know, really whatever we're feeling. And that can include not feeling good, and that can also include feeling wonderful. And so,
and being okay with whatever experience you're having.
Yeah, so let's all like have a strong intention of just like really tuning into our heart and whatever the love we have capacity to feel today, just breathing into that space, breathing into whatever is in our heart space right now. And you know, so I'm going to go ahead. I think this was a great way to set the tone for our breathwork practice. And I'm going to go ahead and press the recording play. But before I do it, let's make some intentions for our breath practice around self-love. Would you like to share something?
I loved what, and I forgot her name. Is she the one that was talking about her daughter?
Lena.
I'm sorry, Lena?
Yes, you got it.
Lena. and that her daughter was saying that she loved herself anyway, that she might have made some mistakes, but she loved herself anyway. And just before she was saying that, I was here, I'm listening. I just have my eyes closed for a bit. I'm just listening, taking it all in. And my mind went back to when I was 5 and just me as a person. And I was thinking, oh, I really love myself. Like, I think I'm the coolest person and I love hanging out with me. And everybody else gets to experience me too. And they love being with me. And I was like thinking, well, I may not have money. I may not do this or that, but I'm cool as hell. And
Absolutely.
yeah. And it's like, life is fun. It's fun, even when it's not fun.
Absolutely. Rula, I'm so sorry. I also want to tell you, I was laughing and I love your story. I love hearing from you. We also have a giant cat that almost just knocked over the computer.
Yeah.
You couldn't see it. I could tell you couldn't see it, but yeah, it just walked right in front of it.
Giant.
Giant. So we kind of like lucked out on that. Beautiful disaster that might have happened. But thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
And it's nice knowing that even as a little kid, you grew up with this mentality of, like, I'm going to love myself, whatever I have compared to other people. Like,
I have just one more. Luckily, I have back in the 50s. I don't know. I have a tape. Well, I got it turned into a tape, and it was my 3rd birthday party, I think, 3rd. And I had the Shirley Temple curls and the dress, and I was just so cute. I had my cousins there, and they were boys, and they were fighting, and I went over, and I was like trying to break it up and just, and I don't know. It was just so cute. I was so damn cute.
Nice memories. Super sweet. Thank you so much.
I love meeting people who love themselves. This is such a episode there. So nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
I mean, and honestly, like, I did an EFT session with someone, and she didn't really say this during the session, but we were tapping, and I'm doing the work and thinking she's doing the work, and we're talking and going back and forth. And then the next time she comes in, she says, the whole time I was like, do I love myself? What does this even mean? I've never even thought about this before. Do I love myself? Of course I love myself. And so in her head, the entire session, she was actually thinking just about the setup phrase for EFT. So all of the stuff I thought we were doing healing work around wasn't the stuff we were doing healing work. That was what was being said, but what was going on in her heart and in her mind was just questioning love. And if I had known that, I would have geared the session around, what does it mean to love ourselves? What does it mean to feel love? What is my highest definition of love? Those are all things that we can actually do healing work around for people who don't necessarily understand it in their bodies, or they might have an identity of it in their body or in their mind, but they don't think, they're not experiencing it. So like, let's say someone expects self-love to look a certain way, then they might go through the world being like, well, I don't have that, but they might actually have a lot of it. They're just not looking for it in the right way. And so if I had known when doing this healing session that, that was a thing for her, we would have done healing work on the thing that was coming up, but she didn't know to tell me, and I didn't know until her follow-up sessions. So we were able to talk about it then. But yeah, I think it's okay for people to just never have this thought.
No.
If you don't grow up with this, if you don't think about it, it's just going to be a new thing. And in which case, I like what you said. We're born in love. That is a thing that's a part of our experience that's in us. It's like, it's life force. So we don't. However we mentally view it, it's like it is at the core of our life force what drives us. And then I think as adults, it's nice that we can learn to cultivate it and grow it. And we'll do that with our breath. So, Greg, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, I don't think you can see me, but I think you can hear me. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I agree with what you've been saying. I think it's really, really important. When you come in the world, you're born perfect. And as a child, until we get to 6, 7, or 8, we just want to do things that are fun. We want to do things that we enjoy. We're explorers. We're fully engaged in doing things for ourselves. We want to eat, we want to eat, we want to go play, we want to go play, and then it gets beaten out of us because we're told all these rules or whatever. And so then we start to challenge ourselves. We don't think we're entitled, or we don't feel good about ourselves, or we think we have to get permission to feel good about ourselves from other people. And that's kind of what happened to me with my father. He was a very functioning alcoholic. But so for many, many years, until just a few years ago in my life, I felt like I wasn't good enough. So I was constantly looking for feeling good about myself from outside of myself. Overgiving, overcaring, trying too hard, taking the hardest jobs on, all that kind of stuff. And so for me, the importance of self-love is to know that you deserve to take care of yourself. And the person who's going to take care of you best is yourself, better than anybody else is ever going to take care of yourself. And so that's been a new lesson for me as an adult, that I've been able to give myself, to set boundaries, to take care of myself, to honor what's really important, and to honor myself. So it's different aspects of self-love. And then I think Lena said it earlier, you can't give what you don't have. You can't give love until you love yourself first. If you don't respect yourself, it's very difficult to give respect for others. If you're judging yourself, you're judging others. So if you're loving yourself and not judging yourself, you got company.
Yeah, it's all really well said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So my big thing is the learning to continue to know where the line is, to set my own boundaries for self-love.
Learning to set the line for boundaries for self-love.
Yeah.
Sometimes saying
No.
yeah, and sticking to, like, if you say you're going to do something, sticking to it, like, can be an expression of self-care and self-love. And also, what you're saying as far as, like, the more we own in ourselves that we are responsible to take care of ourselves, that we are responsible to give ourselves and take care of our bodies and, like, nurture ourselves, like, that is self-love, and it's really important. And so thank you so much for sharing.
You're very welcome.
Topic.
It's a big topic.
I actually even have a class in astrology, how you can love yourself according to your sun sign, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly so many things we could share. But I think this really did set a nice intention for our breath practice. Okay, I want to take you on a little bit of a tour of this website so that you could access this breathing class. If you would like to make intentions with us, please let us know, what are your intentions after hearing this conversation on self-love? What is your intention for your practice today? If you've already purchased the class, just go to the meritmassageandyoga.com website, MERRITT, massageandyoga.com, and then scroll over to DIY-home, scroll down to Breathing for an Energized Life. This will allow you to either purchase the course or access it if you've already registered. So what you do get with this course is about 90 minutes of content. We're doing a full hour of breathing practice, so you can use this over and over and over again. There are times in your breath practice where stuff comes up where you'll genuinely want support and you'll want to get a breath coach. But other than that, it's like, this is a really nice thing to help you keep pace, stay focused, and just hear the positive things that can be possible for you. So if you want, you can purchase the class here. If you've already done so, I'm going to go ahead and log in and just show you what this looks like and what you get with this class. So Michelle and I recorded this, and we're talking about what is conscious connected breathing. the different ways to breathe. This isn't going to change the technique. So what we're talking about are what are the different ways to breathe. This is talking about what is the difference between breathing with an online class or breathing in a Zoom session or breathing in a group. Breathe the way that you see the 3 people in this video. Or what is it like when you're breathing one-on-one and the coach is specific to knowing and recognizing your patterns and helping you move through stuff that you might get stuck with if you were left on your own and not really sure of what your experience is. So we also talk about the different benefits of breathing and just having more oxygen moving through the body, what to expect when doing this technique. She offers a quick practice, which you can do. It takes a minute or two. That just, if you find you're short of breath or if you're feeling stressed, it's like something you can do on the go. And then when you have time to sit for an hour, we have the full 60-minute breath session, and it helps you keep pace. One thing we like to encourage is with the online class, this is a nice get together with a friend. Have a friend with you, breathe together. If you find you get spacey, sometimes making eye contact is really helpful. And then lastly, we have our testimonials. So you can also scroll down and communicate with us in the comments section here. The content is where you can download, once you've purchased the class, you can download the videos. And then you can also connect with Michelle to schedule one-on-one and see testimonials. So hopefully as we go, we'll be adding lots more here. I know as we're sharing this, Lena, Michelle, and I, there was some questions at the end. So I'm gonna, now that I've shown you how to access the class if you would like it, I'm gonna go ahead and jump back to the rest of our call from our self-talk for love. But please, if you've already, if you're signed up for this class, use this talk, create an intention, feel your heart, log in, and get started with the full 90-minute class. And I hope this helps you as much as it's helped me. Slowly waking up. And this is really a beautiful little demo of this work in this video, and especially if conscious breathing is new for you. I kind of want to ask Michelle to give us some information on that. Like, what is this when this conscious breathing is new for someone? I know in the video we talked a little bit about what someone might expect, but
yeah. So if the first year of breathing is just learning how to breathe. It's learning how to do this connected breathing. So that's what you want to do initially, is just figure out how to do it. I mean, because it's hard to breathe in and out your mouth and deal with the moisture, the lack of moisture. So there's ways that you can steer the oxygen so that it doesn't aggravate your throat.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, because I end up coughing a lot. And for the first 10 minutes of any session is just getting into the groove, right? And then when you're about halfway through, you start to, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end to anything.
Uh-huh.
So, like I said, you start anything the way you were born. So often I'm super reluctant anytime I start breathing. I don't want to start breathing, and it takes me like 10 minutes to just get into it. So then I'm working on moving into the middle, and then for me the middle of something might be the way I handle any.
And I was born early, so of course
Yeah.
I go into it real quick. I'm like, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm ready to scream pretty much.
Yeah. And then there's people who don't, there's people who have bad endings to anything, so like if you're doing Coming to the end of your session, you might start noticing
Interesting.
patterns. You're just putting more oxygen into your body, and that's really good for your health, and that's really good for your body. You'll move pain. Those are some good reasons to breathe.
Lena, what was your experience just having been introduced to this breath
Yeah, it was
for the first time?
very interesting, very relaxing. Almost like I got sleepy. It was interesting you mentioned about ending. I usually have bad endings. I don't know how to end things. So towards the end, I was already like fidgeting, and I was already like, okay, what is going on? It was a little unsettling, like, okay, what is happening? But through that, it was very relaxing. I got relaxed, and two cats were sitting next to me, and I'm usually super afraid of cats. And you kept saying you're safe, and I was feeling it. I was breathing into I'm safe with the cats, and it felt really good. I felt safe. I could feel them, and I like that. It was great.
Nice.
Thank you.
And I'm personally not really doing this technique right now. I'm constantly like kind of looking on my computer to see if anyone needed anything, and I wanted to check in with everyone, you know. But I did find, you know, I was also doing a little bit deeper of a breath and tuning into it in and out every now and then. And, you know, that I have this need right now to like look pretty in front of the camera. And there's really nothing pretty about this technique. We don't need to be pretty doing this technique. This is really not what it's about. So that the topic of self-love was actually really quite perfect for this, because I was like, you know, even though I'm not really doing it, I also like can have some like care for myself. This is not appearance-based. Our breath is not appearance-based. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to feel a certain way. Like she said in the video, you know, there is no right or wrong way to do this, you know, but it is just about doing it, getting lots of oxygen moving through the body, and the intention of having some self-love and nurturing through our breath. So we have just a few minutes left, and I'm going to unmute everyone so you can share, or you can send me a text message if you want to share.
All right, I have some questions. I've done different over the years, because I'm older than you, Michelle. I've done different breathing techniques and different things, and some were for getting the toxins out, some were for different ones, and a lot of it also was with closed mouth, in and then even out through the nose, and even with sleeping, you try to do it through the nose. So I was confused, and I know I was following the two breaths that you gave, the two different styles, and I was confused because you didn't say for circular breathing what type of breath we should use, and do we always do like open mouth for the energy, or are there some breaths with through the nose?
Well, there are so many different ways to breathe. Okay. So this is just really simple. This
Right.
is in and out your mouth, and that's how you want to start. And I think that's what we tried to impress in the video.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to confuse it with any other technique. You don't want to breathe in the mouth and out the nose, or in the nose and out the mouth. Yeah, that's doing all kinds of different things. So we're just moving energy in the body, and we're doing it through circular breathing. And you can, I like to start people in and out the mouth.
Okay.
And if you're going to breathe in and out your nose, you need to have at least breathed for a year in and out your mouth. I think because you get more oxygen into your body. And when you breathe in and out your nose, you're stimulating all the stuff up here.
Okay.
And I'm looking to stimulate your body, not your head.
Okay.
Okay. And
that makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't talk about breathing any other way in this video.
Okay.
Than in and out the mouth. So your confusion might be because you have so many techniques that you've learned. And
Right.
yeah, that's, I've heard this from other people
Okay.
who are seasoned breathers who have studied yogic breathing. This is not yogic breathing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
None
Okay.
of those things. It's conscious
Okay.
connected breathing. Clear?
Okay, great. Yeah, very clear. Just one other question then. When you're not breathing, when you're just, regular, like just, walking, say if I'm going walking, is it okay to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose? Or do you suggest
No, when you're walking and doing your thing, I'm not telling you to breathe like this all the time.
No.
You're just breathing like this for an hour.
This is cleaning house, Rula.
Yeah.
This is cleaning your internal house. This is
Okay.
working circular breath. So this isn't something that if you were to do it all the time, you'd be
Yeah.
in the zone like you ran a marathon on a daily basis. So this is a more in-depth breath that helps you get real present in your body. It helps you move things more quickly. But the reality is you do not need this breath all the time.
Good.
But
All right, cool.
I'll tell you something, Rula. I go into the woods and I will walk for an hour and breathe in and out my mouth, and I'll feel like I'm in an altered state. It's a nice way to breathe. You can walk and breathe too. You can lay down and breathe too like this. But it's not something you want to just breathe like this all the time. And you want to keep doing your other kinds of breathings too.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for asking. And so, and Rula, you can see like we have this video as a tool so that people can do this breath on their own. And it is like I know the technique, so I've used it to help give me pace on my own to keep the breath going, and just to hear someone say things like you're safe and it's okay to breathe and breath can be easy. It's kind of like in life, breath can sometimes be like, is that easy? Because I feel like my breath is short, or I feel stressed, or whatever it is that we're experiencing. And so a part of having this video is to just help people have pace. But I also want this to be something that brings people together, like in the same way, like I wanted us to be all in the same room together, because the online stuff is great because it's so accessible, but it's also like beautiful as a way to bring people together and have people, be able to say to their friends, like, rather than let's meeting for alcohol or something that's going to make us feel shitty the next day, we could say, like, hey, I want to breathe today. Like it's not uncommon that Michelle and I will go to the park and we'll just walk for an hour and we're not talking, we're just breathing, and
Great.
and I'm so really grateful for the number of people in my life that I have that I'm gathering with over things that bring life to me, that help me feel energized and whole, and versus things that's like bonding over eating, like Thanksgiving, overeating, and all the other things that we do that make us feel tired and lethargic. And so Sharon, it's like as we go, I think this is something that we can share with more people, and just use the video to to have positive experiences with the people we care about as well, if you're ever inspired. So I'm curious, Greg and Mark, if you want to send me a message, or if you have something you want to share. It's now 6:05 also.
Hi.
Hi.
You should never ask me if I have something to share. You should tell that. Lena could have told you that.
I was just gonna say. Geminis always have something to say.
We love that.
Yeah.
Go Gemini.
Yeah. So what I'd like to share is, Michelle, this is a little bit of a suggestion. I've done a lot of different breathing techniques through yoga space and everything, and I love what you're bringing to so many people. It's beautiful. The phrase that we use is the mind controls the body, but the breathing controls the mind. So if you can control your breathing, you can control everything.
Nice.
I really love what you're bringing. I have one suggestion though. When you're explaining the breath, I found that when I was modeling your suggested pattern, it was too intense for me. I was immediately getting lightheaded. I was over oxygenating.
That's
But that gets dizzy and it gets you off center.
Well,
And,
that's the whole point.
you
That's
know,
that's the whole point. You can't be afraid of sensation. And one of the things, I think I pointed it out in the video, is you can go as fast and as slow as you want. You can go as deep or as light. You have to know your body. And that was, so that's something that you need to know about. That's good.
Right. Well, so I do know. And so I felt it coming on. And so I completely adjusted my breathing pattern.
Good.
I slowed it down.
Good.
And,
Perfect.
I just slowed it down and I changed the depth a little bit and was mainly breathing
Excellent.
with my stomach. So, but I just wanted to say that you might want to mention it to people that they might feel lightheaded or they might feel dizzy if they're over oxygenating, and it's something that they might want to be aware of.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's really a good point. And I've been in a lot of sessions and have been with people who have moved into those states, and that's a healing place. And if you're used to doing yogic breath and it doesn't bring the creator of this, his reason for creating this practice was because he felt that yogic breath was not doing enough, and so he wanted to he believed that yoga, this was a type of yoga without putting postures, without using your nostrils this way and that way, and that what would happen for people is that they would relive their births, and that's why he called it rebirthing. So I'd be interested if you would allow yourself to let your breath get, make you a little more spacey. Does that make sense to you? Are you willing to go there?
Absolutely. I've done it many times and during the yoga practice. And then, I've pulled back from it because it feels, it doesn't feel releasing when I'm in that space. It feels like it actually sometimes gets to a point where it gets difficult to breathe because it's very intentional breathing, and where it feels like I'm over forcing it in a way, because and then I have to back off. So anyway.
Well, you know what, and that's why individual breath sessions are really important, because what we talk about is your patterns of how you do things. Like, I'd be curious to find out, and please stop me if this is getting too personal, how it is you do anything. Like, is it, I think it sounds to me like it could be a pattern, because so are you interested in looking at the patterns in your life? Are you interested in changing patterns? And because if this is happening to you in yogic breathing and you're feeling like you have to control it, how do you do that in life? If you want to talk about this some more, I'm open to that. But I think we're getting to a point now where we're wrapping things up.
Yeah, we are wrapping things up. And so I think there is a fine line where it's like, if someone has low blood sugar or a heart, there are reasons why people will get dizzier. And I think that there are also a lot of times where it is symbolic. The moment you start doing something, it's like So if I start breathing and then all of a sudden I feel like it's too much for me and I want to back down, is that a theme where I want to do something, I'm starting to do something, and then I get overwhelmed and I want to stop? I don't know. That could be a thing that this could make us aware of. And
It's
if
all
we
about awareness.
do
Yeah.
keep doing the breath, finding ways to find comfort in it so that we can keep breathing, keep doing it, keep breathing. And then eventually we might find, wow, like it's actually not so bad. Maybe I can push through this. Maybe I can. Yes.
Okay. I'm excited because I didn't do it lying down, so I'm going to during the week. I think I was opening my mouth too much when I was
Yeah,
breathing.
that's why the first year of breathing is
Yeah.
figuring all the
Yeah.
logistics out. How is it easy for me to breathe? I need a glass of water here. I need to be laying down. Sitting up is nothing wrong with sitting up either. I take groups of people who are sitting up, and that's a whole different experience.
I'm going to try different ways. So
Good.
I'll report back.
Sounds good. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all for being here and being a part of our like pilot of what we've created, and also learning how to share it with Zoom and and people pretty much wherever they are in their homes, in the comfort of your own home. So thank you all for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You.
If you guys are interested, we do group breathes on Saturdays for 2 hours where you can play here with your breath with me
Cool.
in person.
Share your website.
soulcenterbodywork.com.
And we're going to move quick.
Okay.
Coach.com.
Wait, what was it? I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Say it again.
LenaCoach.com. That's my website.
All right.
Nice meeting you.
And Lena also does amazing astrology sessions.
Thanks.
Yeah, that would be interesting too.
Yeah. Maybe we can do a self-love and
Absolutely.
astrology
Oh my God,
talk.
yes.
Yes.
Is the astrology on Lena Coach?
Yeah. Everything is on LenaCoach.com. Yes.
Is Lena Lena?
You got it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Follow
Thank you
Michelle.
so much, Michelle. That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.